Will Bitcoin and stocks break down over the next few days as the United States goes into war in the Middle East? Because look at this. This is a very crazy situation, right? You've had this support level on Bitcoin, for example, for like 2 months now, right? And now we're just peeking our head below this support line and looks like we're going to break it, right? And at the same time, there is wild rumors going on saying that Trump is about to send in the cavalry to help Israel, to basically get into Iran, not boots on the ground, but basically aerial attack, and also, I guess, from the carriers like Nimitz over the weekend, whilst the stock market is closed. Trump wants minimum damage to the U.S. financial system. He's going to send them in on Friday, close of business, 4 p.m. Friday. Right now, it's only 12 o'clock New York time. So I don't know the future, but they say he's going to send them in 4 or 5 p.m. and then get them pulled out, the whole bombing operation done by Monday morning, at latest by Monday morning, by the time US opens. What's going to happen here? And today we're going to look at both Bitcoin and Ethereum in terms of what's happening to the on-chain signals, what's happening with whales, what's happening with Bitcoin, what's happening with Ethereum. So this is going to be a big episode today, and let's get straight into it. So this trend line, my call was for us to break down here. I said 1.3.5 is the support. We've bounced off there like 3 or 4 times now. I said we would get probably a short squeeze up first before we break down. And I was expecting a bigger move than this 106.3. But so far, that's all we got. And looks like the breakdown is happening live as we're speaking. However, look at this. I don't think this is going to be one of those mega crashes where Bitcoin goes down 10% in one day. Because look, we're still pretty green, especially down here, very green. So if we had one of those big crash days, then the exchanges are basically just gonna lose out and have to pay out all the shorts. So I wouldn't discount the scenario where we have one more push up, right? Liquidate all the shorts, get as much green, as much green or as much red and black on that futures funding rate, which means everyone's either going neutral or going long, and then smash it down. So the break of this line, I've been expecting it, and I've been saying, I think in the next week or two, we should get a break of the line. But in the next 24, 48 hours, we might get it bounced up first, just simply because there's so much green on the board. And one more thing to keep in mind is, I think people are shorting right now, and that's why it's so green, because they're also expecting this war to happen, some sort of response by the United States over the weekend, and I think then we retest this 100K area with a decent chance for us to get into the mid-90s, which is the number I've been calling for from the start. It still hasn't happened yet. So the US right now is Trump says he wants to contemplate for 2 weeks. So we don't know if he's going to send in the soldiers, the bombing raid this weekend on the Friday or whatever. But if he does, it depends on if it's a successful mission by the Wall Street's definition or not. If it's a successful mission, then I think market's going to bounce huge on Monday. If not, then I think we could. If Iran closes off the Hormuz Strait, I think it's going to be huge, like a big drop on stocks and Bitcoin. Before we go any further, first let's answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo use? Well, Pablo uses the exchange that's non-KYC, meaning you don't even need to show your ID, right? So that's why I've made this deal with them, because that means the exchange can't even see who you are, and then of course even Americans can use it just by depositing, because then the IRS can't see you, the tax office can't see you, FBI, CIA, nobody can see you, totally private. Just deposit and get a 20% bonus, right? Like deposit $100 and win and get $20 US futures trading bonus. Deposit $1,000, get 200 USDT futures bonus. All right, chance to win a MacBook Pro, iPhone 16, Apple Watch just by trading. And even if you're just in the top 20, you still get to win prizes. Okay, now this is limited time only until 11th of July. And for folks who are watching on YouTube, the link is in the description below. The link is in the description below. But for everyone else who are on different platforms, that's okay. Just go and click on my profile page, and there's my link tree. It's called StanLink, and it should be the first deal that pops up because this is a great deal. There it is. Okay, let's get back to the markets. And remember, folks, this is only on the Pablo Heman link. So with Bitcoin now threatening this breakdown, the war and US strike is kind of anticipated, but it depends on the results of the strike. So one more thing we're going to look at here is this is Ethereum. So we're going to look at Bitcoin first and see how these signals are working out. These red and green dots, they are basically the bid and sell offers. So whenever bid and ask. So you know how when you go on an exchange, sometimes if you're in a hurry, you trade and you say, hey, look, just buy at market or sell at market if you're in panic. But if you're not in a panic, especially if you're a whale, you can't afford to just buy and sell at the market. You have to position slowly and carefully. If you are trying to buy huge amounts of Bitcoin or Ethereum, you have to place those bids under the market, right? Because if you buy at the market, if you're a whale, you push the price way up before you even feel like 10% of your whatever you're trying to buy. So the green ones are the bids, and the red ones are the asks. Ask meaning you're a whale and you're trying to sell, and you're basically placing the price above the market. Now, what happens is basically one of these signals is generated when basically the bid is higher than the ask, or if the bid is higher than the ask, then we get a green signal, right? If the ask is higher than the bid, then we get a red signal. And I mean in terms of volume. If there are a lot more selling asks than bids, then we get these red dots. So in general, as we always say, no signal is 100% accurate, but in general, we can see that this signal has actually worked kind of pretty well. It was telling us the market is not ready, not ready, not ready, and then we started seeing greens coming in. Whales are bidding. So this signal told us around the low 50s, whales started bidding, and then gave us confirmation in the low 60s that the whales were bidding. And then even so then Bitcoin obviously ran to 108K, and even up till now they were telling us Bitcoin whales were buying Bitcoin, and then they just tell us selling, more sell orders, more sell orders, more sell orders, right? And obviously this was a very good time to get out. You would have avoided that mini bear market between January 2025 to around April. And look, when did it turn positive again? Right around here. This would have been like April the 1st, and the market bottomed on April 7th, right? April 7th. So these were all buy signals, and they were all below 80K or just above 80K. And now, basically, the market has turned into all these reds again. So that means there are more sell orders. There are more asks placed above the current market price, right? So, for example, if Bitcoin is 105K, there are more sell orders in larger volume above, say, at 105K, 106K, 107K, and then there are bids below, such as at 102, 101, 100K. Now, another way to look at this is, so that's telling us we could be looking at a situation similar to this again. You could say, oh, are we in a topping with a double top then, right? Around this 108, 112K area. Another way to look at this is, see, this is the bid and ask. The red is the ask. The green is obviously the bid. See how red is dominating over the green here? So we get lots of these red signals. And green is pops up here, right? Pops up here, and green dominates the red here, telling us in the low 50s and low 60s, whales are doing some buying with some bids, and now is a great time to get in. So here, immediately where we are right now, we see that the sell orders or the asks are dominating the bids, the bid orders, right? The red is dominating the green. So that's why I keep on saying, I think we get a retest 100K, and I'll be expecting mid-90s, right? Could go even lower, but so far, a reasonable place for me to project this pullback, this drop down, is around 95K. And for folks who've been watching me on my videos or in my Discord, you know that's the number I've been giving all along. And now have a look at this. What is this yellow line, do you guys think? The yellow line is the bid-ask ratio in terms of volume, and the red line is just the moving average. So when it comes to bid-ask ratio, basically you're just dividing the number of bids by the number of asks, and seeing how big of a number are we getting in terms of ratio. So obviously, the higher the ratio, the more bids there are. So more buying orders below the market, more whales trying to get in. So look at the two times we had a spike here. Once was here. This was when Bitcoin on August the 7th last year at 49K. That's a very good signal. When Bitcoin was, that was the big crash in the stock market and in Bitcoin due to the Japanese carry trade got reversed. And then you have another small pop here. There's three small pops here, but a major spike here. Major spike here, even though the price wasn't moving much. That gave us a very strong signal, right? A lot more buying than selling in the low 60s. That was the time, a confirmation signal. This is where the signal started to get in, and basically here we go. Now, once we've gotten up to above 100K, we can see you can't trust it every time. I mean, there are all these little spikes, right? But this one was serious. You can see this is easily spending a lot of time below zero with the bid and ask. Much more ask volume, right? And then, if you exited here, then you've exited the top pretty much. And, it's just been selling volume. We had more selling volume, but look how crazy this is. Then it swings up, right? Sell volume, massive panic sell volume, and buy volume. So last time we had a spike up was at 49K, and this time we had a spike up. This is when it was like 79K. So it was just 2 or 3 days off, like about 4 or 5 days off from timing the exact bottom, which is around April the 7th, when Bitcoin was at 74K. My target was 73K, so we got pretty close. And look what's happening here, right? Another little spike, but lately we've been seeing a lot of reds, so we see this and this spike down. So like this chart pattern when Bitcoin's 112K reminds me somewhat of these chart patterns when Bitcoin is up there. So you could be negative and say, oh, look, we're about to repeat this and get a dump at least to the 70s. And this could be the start of the bear market. That could always happen. But I always said I'm leaning towards a blow off top. I think the probability of that is kind of small. But I do think we likely get a pullback into mid-90s, like 95, and then bounce up, something like that. I mean, it's just once we get down here, we'll have to see if this chart flips from green to red to green or not, and if we see much more buying volume coming in or not. Okay, and now this is ETH. Since we've spent all that time explaining Bitcoin already, so I think we already know what these red and green dots mean. And we can see that they do not appear every time. It only appears when Bitcoin and when the buy and sell volume, bid-ask volume, is higher. It hits a certain ratio. So, for example, we can see that here, the red is very much higher than the green. So we're seeing these sort of signals. They don't just appear all the time. They only appear when there is a very strong or obvious signal. So this here I'm going to see, bid to ask ratio going very negative. And here, right, gave us the signal that this was topping. And even here, right, these are after no signal, the green signal telling us buy. This is Ethereum, by the way. This is November last year, and first sell signal, second sell signal, third sell signal. I mean, if you sold anywhere between here, then you've got the top. Here was the massive crash, and then no signal for a while. A little bit of buying here, just one or two dots, and then lots of buying signals here. This was around 1800 and then all the way down to 1300. So it doesn't get the bottom exactly, but it showed this was the area to be buying. And now where we are, we can see quite a few sell signals, the red is dominating the green, and we can see bid to ask ratio is firmly in the negative here. So that makes me think, as I've been saying, we get a pullback to at least 2300, if not high 2200s. It could go even lower, but that's the minimum target for me right now, like high 2200s, 2300. When we get there, let's see how this chart reacts and how much it has changed. So as I've been saying, next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm looking for a move down, further pullback before we eventually go up for a blow off top. I'll keep you guys updated for more updates. Thank you for your time. Catch you next week.